Field Days is a channel where Matt frequently shows footage of his extreme survival trips to remote locations, living only off the land for days. In 2021, Matt uploaded a video of an overnight trip he took to a dark cave in the middle of nowhere in Australia, recording everything he saw as he explored some of the different holes deeper inside. For the first few minutes, all you can hear is him climbing down a man-made ladder, and you can't help but be kind of amazed at how brave it is to visit a dark cave in the middle of nowhere all alone with no water. As the video progresses, he makes a few comments and observations about his surroundings, and throughout the footage there doesn't appear to be anyone else in the cave with him. Around the time he sits down to eat his baked beans at 11 p.m. though, the disturbing sound of falling rocks and an animal walking around takes the footage in a pretty dark direction.
That is beautiful. Baked beans in a haunted cave. Oh my fucking God. That was the sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps. It's the chains moving when I climb down the ladder. It's a big, heavy, thick chain. Wind can't move that.
When he recorded this video, Matt realized the air inside was completely still and dead calm. Later in the footage, he figured out the swinging movement meant someone was down there, specifically in the darkness from someone hiding nearby, or possibly in the shadows from something trying to watch him.
That chain moved just then. It is 100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even for... Holy shit. Oh my fucking God. Look. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. Holy shit.
If the worst thing that could have happened to him was coming across a hostile squad living in the dark, that's a pretty terrifying situation to find yourself in. But because Matt confirmed that he couldn't find anything making those noises aside from big animals when he walked around a couple of hours later, it's also clear that a direct confrontation wasn't really their main focus. We can't really know what they would have done to him if he hadn't changed his mind after the creepy noises subsided and decided to spend the rest of the night near the entrance, but at any rate, it's probably a good thing he safely made his way out as soon as the sun rose and never went back to that cave again. Novice Wild Camper is a channel where Michael frequently shows footage of his trips to remote, untouched locations to find stillness and beauty. In February 2024, Michael uploaded a video of himself exploring the woods somewhere in the UK. As we covered earlier in our video, the first night of his trip was incredibly creepy, ending with him escaping an unseen attacker throwing heavy rocks at his hammock. But in this part of the video, Michael decides to try camping in the woodland again, hoping for a better experience. Unfortunately, things turn out to be much more disturbing than he planned. The first few minutes of the footage seem pretty normal, as he explores, prepares, and sets up his camp for the night. However, right after he set up his trail camera and settled in for the night, something truly disturbing is captured in the recording.
What is that? What is that? Oh. There was another mouse eating something. So I keep hearing loads of mice and things dotted about. Nothing around there. Fuck is that? There's 2 fucking handprints. Just put my torch on. That wasn't there 2 seconds ago. I swear that wasn't there. There's 2. I keep seeing like a flash. of light. It's like as the camera comes around, it disappears.
Finding human handprints on the trees in the middle of nowhere is genuinely terrifying. You could argue it was just a local trying to strike fear into the campers who stay there. But as he pans his camera across the dark woods, things take an even more unsettling turn when he discovers a second handprint on the bark.
Fuck was that? There's no fucking hand mark on there.
He tried to brush it off and get some rest, but as he settles in for the night, those strange voices suddenly return, louder than before.
And it's pretty quiet in comparison to what it was last time I was here. So I can now hear a road in the distance, which I couldn't hear before. But I keep on hearing like a distant banging noise. It's like a metallic bang, 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 bang. And I also keep hearing like a long howl. It sounds a bit like an owl, but it's just too long for it. It's weird. It's in the distance. It's not close, but it's like you can definitely. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard that. If that picked it up on the mic or not. That one sounded more like a wolf, but we haven't got any wolves in this country. It could possibly be a dog. I don't know. I've never heard that. I've never heard anything like that.
While it's possible the disturbing sound was made by a wild animal like a coyote or a fox, there is a strong possibility that the sound was actually produced by a human who was out there trying to terrify him. But before he even had time to process what he was hearing, he was hit with yet another creepy sound.
It could just be someone walking a dog or something down the main track. Fuck, that was close. That was really close. Okay, quiet for a bit.
He mentions that somebody must have been playing tricks to scare him out of his tent. After spending a little time in the woods the following morning, he finally decided to leave. Because Michael managed to survive the night and sleep outside without retreating to his car, this trip was definitely more successful than his last. However, it's hard to imagine why there would be glowing handprints randomly appearing on the trees around his campsite in the pitch black. What's most disturbing is that while the distant metallic banging and uncharacteristically long howls could be explained away, the footage from his trail camera the next morning showed something near the ground, trying to grab at the lens.
So it was in the early hours of the morning. There was some sunlight, or there was some daylight, but you can see something sort of down the bottom of the picture here move, and then the camera clicks a couple of times. So it's almost like something was trying to grab the camera, which is a bit odd, but then it just shut off. So, I don't know.
Luckily, Michael was able to pack up his gear safely the next morning and has continued uploading outdoor footage to this day. Rachel and Tommy is a van life YouTube channel run by a couple who upload some pretty cool footage of their camping trips in remote locations across the country. In January 2022, they uploaded a video where they left their van parked in an extremely isolated area beside a ridge, and Tommy and his wife Rachel went out to explore. About halfway through the journey, everything seems to be going according to plan. However, on their way back to the van, they hear something unusual.
Can y'all hear this? Can you hear this? Yeah, do not know what that, I don't know what that was.
If you listen closely to the voice he heard, it could be some kind of animal, like a squirrel, which can produce sounds around the trees, but we can't say for sure. However, after they make their way back to the van and go to bed for the night, something disturbing happens.
Can y'all hear the
Well, they are getting it, aren't they? I hope it's showing up.
They're close.
Yeah, let me open this.
It's highly possible that the disturbing sound near the van was made by a coyote or a fox, but the earlier noise sounded more like someone screaming, which is what really frightened them. What's most unsettling is that, whether it was a person or animals, the source of the sound appeared only briefly before the noises suddenly stopped. Luckily, they weren't harmed during the encounter. Exploring with Fighters is a YouTube channel run by a guy named Dan, who uploads footage of his abandoned explorations and camping adventures. In November 2022, he uploaded a video where he and his friend Flex headed out to the notorious Epping Forest in the UK to camp overnight during a full moon. The first part of the camping trip goes pretty much according to plan, with the footage showing Dan setting up his tent and starting a fire, cooking steaks over it. After a couple of minutes, something truly unsettling happens as they enjoy their meal.
It makes it all worthwhile. All the hard work that went into it. Oh! What's that? Shh. Can you hear that walking around?
They realize they are not alone in the woods. For a couple of minutes, they try to figure out what to do in that situation. Flex doesn't step outside. Instead, he slowly unzips the tent and records from inside, pointing the camera toward the darkness. It's then that they realize someone is actually watching them from outside their camp, which leads to this recording.
So when something's triggered on the camera, it takes about 2 or 3 second delay, so I didn't actually catch whatever was thrown at the tent. But check this out. I did see this. In the bottom right corner, something comes into the frame. There was definitely someone there, and it looks like they just take a look what was going on. And as Flex pops his head out to take a look, they dart off into the darkness. Now this is quite a scary thought.
For a brief moment in the bottom right corner of the footage, we can see a figure standing just outside their camp. We can't see their full body since the person didn't step fully into view to be captured on camera. While it's pretty likely it was just a drunk guy looking for food or wandering through the trees, there's really no way to confirm exactly what he was doing out there in the middle of the night. Luckily, they managed to pack up and make their way out of that graveyard forest safely. The Outdoor Experience is a camping channel on YouTube that features high-quality footage of outdoor adventures and gear testing. In April 2020, a video was uploaded where Sam and his brother Jeremiah headed out to Sugar Creek to try something they had never done before, camping right in the middle of a massive open field. Everything started off peaceful, but at around 8 p.m., things became disturbing when they began hearing mysterious voices coming from the woods. At first, it sounds strange to hear voices like that in the first place. However, when Jeremiah recorded the moment on his phone, the footage wasn't very clear, and it was quite dark. After a while, in the next clip recorded by Sam, you can clearly hear the same sounds, even though no one is visible. It seems like someone is either singing or trying to lure them out. According to some viewers, it might have been a prank, possibly someone who knew they were there and decided to mess with Sam and his brother. However, after doing some research, Sam found that no one lived within around 1,500 feet of the area, which makes it unlikely that someone would go that far just to play a prank on campers.
Figured out that it was across the field, at the end of the field here. There's a road and there's a house, like right over there, across the road. That's where all them noises were coming from. Still don't know what was going on. No music playing, but someone was singing into a microphone or something. I don't know, it was weird.
The next morning he discovered that the sounds could possibly have been coming from a house across the field near the road, but this was never confirmed. In the end, it left him wondering who made those voices, especially since whoever it was never approached them or caused any harm. In 2006, the Angel of Catalonia video, an extremely viral piece of footage supposedly proving the paranormal, hit the internet, accumulating millions of views across several lists. The video features two men who hit record on their camera as they enter a forest outside the town of Camp de Vinol, Spain. For the first part of their journey, things kick off pretty normally, but after a while they find some odd-looking large feathers lying on the forest floor. Strangely, there appears to be an unusual amount of them scattered around, though it's hard to imagine what kind of massive creature would go through the trouble of shedding such large feathers in the middle of the woods, only to completely disappear. Upon crossing deeper into the trees, the two men pan the camera over and catch something disturbing.
La última batería como queda. Yo tío, es que por flipar, ¿eh? Mira. Es que tío, yo qué sé, tío, se llaman plumas, tío. ¿No o no? No, tio, ja veus si sent soroll. Des de fa rato que sent soroll. Que sí, collons, que sí. Hòstia. Escolta. Ho sents o no? Puta, tio. Va, corre, hòstia, va!
They ran as soon as the figure turned its head toward them. While the video has sparked endless debates about the paranormal, many viewers took to the comments to offer a more realistic explanation for the bizarre footage. One user pointed out that what we're looking at likely isn't a fallen angel at all, but rather a meth addict who simply took off his clothes and crawled deep into the woods. If that really is the case, the encounter might not be supernatural, but running into someone in such an unpredictable and altered state in the middle of an isolated forest is still an incredibly terrifying situation to find yourself in. Ultimately, we can't confirm whether the men actually encountered a fallen angel, or if that comment is closer to the truth.